Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and permit me to observe all protocols which have been previously established. There is a short presentation that will deal not only with the education components, but with other aspects, some of which were previously mentioned. So I do hope we can get that up on the screen in the shortest possible time. However, as was mentioned, we are looking at the fact, yes, thank you very much, the fact that that picture says 1,000 words, as we know, because as was previously mentioned, the reality is our women do, in many instances, do two jobs, paid in the workplace and then unpaid at home. And so the question at this point in time is, how have we as women been able to deal with the pandemic issues in the first instance and the budget in the second instance? Can we go to the next slide, please? And as was mentioned previously, the impact of the virus has been felt deeply by women at the lower end of the economic spectrum and their children. And we have seen that manifest children's attendance at school. We have seen that manifest in terms of the parents' ability to provide for the children whilst they're engaged remotely, and more so as they have returned to the school, forms 4, 5, and 6 over the last few weeks. It has been extremely difficult, and we are aware that there are a number of children who, because of this particular situation, have not been able to engage meaningfully with the education system. Next slide, please. Out of the budget, what we've had is the removal of VAT on basic food items. And of course, that basket of goods, comrades, has been expanded. But when you consider you are taking 15 cents off of an item that is costing $2 or $3 more than it previously did, because of the situations due to import, supply and demand, forex challenges, etc., how many of our students, how many of our families will be able to provide meaningfully for our students in the absence of what we have as a proper school feeding program? These particular initiatives announced in the budget may very well assist certain families, certain women, certain sectors, but are they sustainable? Because what we notice within the education sector and as a society is that we start something and implementation and sustainability falls short. The issue of monitoring and quality assurance, who will get the utility cash card? How will it be determined? Will a parent have to expect that whilst the child is doing the virtual engagement, the current will have to go because they can't afford to top up the cash card anymore or the fuel card? These are questions that we as working women need to have answered and need to have clear direction on as part of the policy initiatives. Next slide, please. Other projections or other things projected in the budget. It is said that the budget was designed to boost the manufacturing sector to aid with economic recovery. The IMF projects that Trinidad and Tobago will have roughly a 3.7 growth increase over the next 2 to 3 years. How will that trickle down to us as working women who are either working in paid work and want to have a house? Will this assist us? What about those of us who are at home, who are homemakers? Will these particular initiatives assist us? And therefore, what we have to consider as working women is that whilst all of these initiatives and all of these plans have been incorporated into the 2022 budget, the implementation is something that as trade unions, comrades, we must pay attention to, because those processes for implementation will impact all of our members. And as was mentioned before, their buying power and their standard of living, and ultimately the standard of education that they can offer their children. At the end of the day, what I would want to suggest to us as a trade union movement is that as working women, we have to look at our own data collection process. As a trade union movement, we have to revisit the concept of the working poor and not wait on the state to identify working poor. We heard that social support was given for so many households during the pandemic. But how does that equate, for example, to the fact that over 6,000 businesses had to close over the last 2 years? Where are those workers? Where are the women who worked in those businesses? That is some of the work that we have to do. So hopefully this webinar this afternoon is the start of some serious efforts by us as trade unionists to help our working women. Thank you very much.